Today on Mr. Media, I'll welcome back to the show actor Jaime Cepero, one of the rising stars of the highly rated new NBC musical drama, Smash, which airs Mondays at 10 p.m. Stick around. The creator and showrunner of Smash was recently shown the door, and we're all secretly wondering if Jaime was behind it. So much media, so little time. Who keeps track of it all? That would be me. This is Bob Andelman, and this is a Mr. Media interview. You know, MrMedia.com, MRmedia.com. Stop by and check it out. There are more than 900 archived celebrity and pop culture interviews for your listening pleasure. Mr. Media is recorded live before a studio audience of conniving bisexual douchebags who may get you coffee, but what they really want is your job in the new media capital of the world, St. Petersburg, Florida. When Smash returns for its sophomore season on NBC this fall, don't be surprised if it hasn't been renamed Smash, all about Ellis. Seriously, is there any story twist on this wild Broadway musical dramedy that wouldn't show the fingerprints of Ellis? If only the Great White Way police knew what we, the loyal viewers, knew of his wildly manipulative behavior. Ellis, played with great promiscuity and a complete lack of ethics by my guest today, Jaime Cepero, has turned out to be the audience representative on the show's set. In other words, if a plot twist needs to be moved along a little quicker, there's no better move than injecting Ellis into the scene. If he's not lurking around the corner, behind the door, or under the risers, stealing or hiding valuable documents, you know it won't be long before he affects the plot's trajectory in some manner. Now, this is Jaime Cepero's second appearance on Mr. Media in just 2 months, and when he was first here, only he knew what a raucous ride we were all in for. And now that we're all in on what a calculating little shit his character is, we can only stand back in awe and applaud the sudden impact this once little-known actor has made on Monday nights at 10 p.m. Jaime Cepero, welcome back to Mr. Media.
Hey, man, thanks for having me again.
Delighted to. I had no idea the first time we talked what a fun ride your character was going to have.
Yeah, it kind of was tough to keep my mouth shut for all those interviews, knowing that this is where he was going.
I remember talking to you the first time because the New York Times had just published that day or the day before describing your character is ingratiating and I can't remember the second word, but I thought, wow, this should be interesting. And, before I forget, congratulations on getting picked up for another season. That's very exciting.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're all really pumped about it. So it's been a really good summer thus far.
Now, when you were hired for this role, how much did you know about where the writers were going to send you, or was every week's script a surprise?
Well, every week's script is kind of a surprise as we go along, but during my final callback was a work session with Teresa Rebeck and Bernard Kelsey and the casting for the show, and they had the original scenes they'd given me were those original scenes from the pilot where he's really friendly and he's nice, and you don't really see any glimpses of that conniving, slimy snake in the grass. So the network was really nervous about casting me because I had no credits, and they wanted to see another side of me as an actor. So Teresa, really loved me, and she wrote me these new scenes. The scene between me and Deborah that happens in episode 3, I think, where I take her notebook and I start talking back to her. She wrote that scene, and then she wrote another scene for a future episode with me and Eileen. And I had to give them this conniving person at my final callback, and that I guess that's what kind of landed me the job, was that I could give you this two-faced kind of thing. So yeah, I did know that eventually he was going to turn into this kind of a snake in the grass from that initial audition. Yeah.
And thank you for referring to him as a snake in the grass after everything I just said, because there was a little bit of concern. Well, is he still going to be on the line when I get to the end of this introduction?
Yeah, no, it's funny because people I've been getting this a lot lately, and people come up to me or they ask me about the show, and the first thing they always say is like, "Oh, I hate you on that show. Like, you're so terrible on that show." And I'm like, "Thanks, thank you. I really." But I guess it means I'm doing my job right, because I'm not playing a very nice person. So But I'm a nice guy in real life, so as long as people can differentiate me from the character, that's all I care about.
I completely understand. Now, the thing that I wanted to ask you, the thing that I mentioned about it, I kind of feel like, and I watch the show each week with my wife and daughter, and I think it's the three of us, we kind of feel like part of Ellis's purpose is to be there to move things along a little faster. Like when they seem to be slowing down, suddenly Ellis turns up and things move a lot faster. Is that just our imagination?
No, I think I think he's a very useful character in that sense of writing. I think he always just happens to be there at the right time, and it also goes with his character. That's the kind of ambition that he has. Is he's kind of planting himself in the right positions at the right time. So, he's definitely there to move the story along, and he's definitely there for important plot points. And you'll see all those kind of play out by the end of the season. He definitely has a very strong hand in the way things are happening for the show. So, you could definitely say that. Yeah.
Well, and there's been some great moments. I mean, you mentioned about him stealing Julia's notebook, which helps put him in play at some point for claiming credit for the play. There's, I think this was last week, where Ellis suddenly has become Eileen's assistant instead of Tom's assistant, and then, oh, by the way, I want to be co-producer on this. Now, those are some of my favorite moments. What have you really enjoyed playing so far in this first season?
Well, that scene last week between me and Eileen, Angelica Houston's character, was really, really fun, and we had a really good time doing that. Those are my favorite scenes. Are those when he just tries to step up and gets shot down, or just those are so much fun to play, and we have a lot of fun doing them. And he's a really interesting character. I'm having a lot of fun figuring him out as we've been going along, and every week I get a script and I'm like, oh god, this is what I'm up to this week. Great, okay, all right, let's do it. Like, it always gets worse and worse each week, so it's always exciting to get the new script and see what I'm up to this week and what I'm going to be snooping around in. And it's a really fun character.
I keep imagining a scene where all the major characters find themselves in a room together, and somehow the conversation turns to you, and they all start revealing little things that they've seen, or where you've popped up in their life, and they suddenly go, that little, and they kind of put all the pieces together.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, who's to say that might happen in the future? Yeah. I mean,
well, now the one other thing I was kind of envisioning, and maybe I'm spending too much time with this show. That's entirely possible. But when Ellis says that he wants to be the co-producer, then I thought, okay, think ahead a few steps. Maybe he doesn't become the co-producer on the show, or he gets shot down eventually, and he winds up taking this experience, becoming a producer on another show, and then trying to steal away the characters from this play.
I mean, who's to say? I mean, he's definitely got enough ambition for everybody to do something like that. So you'll definitely see him find his place by the end of the season.
Well, that's what I was going to. I'm sorry, I was going to ask you. What do you think? The last question. What do you think his end game is? Where does he want to be in life?
Well, I think it's pretty clear that he just wants to be on top. I think he's a young kid. He's fresh out of school, and I don't think he's really had. I think working for Tom and Julia and now working for Eileen, he's getting to see these lavish parties and the money that they get and the way they're getting to live. And I don't think he's really had that ever in his life. And I think that gives him that driving ambition to have those things for himself. And he's getting his groundwork from the inside up. I think that's where that ambition comes from. Is that he's never had that before, and he wants it that desperately that he will do whatever it takes, to rise to the top. So you can definitely look out for him for sure.
Okay.
For the next 2 seasons, he's definitely going to be making sure he's around.
All right. Well, folks, you can see actor Jaime Cepero every Monday night at 10 p.m. on the new NBC musical series Smash. Jaime, a pleasure to have you back. Hopefully you'll come back and join us a third time.
Yeah, for sure. After the next slimy thing I do, maybe.
Hey, good luck, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. For more original interviews, surf over to our main website, mrmedia.com, mrmedia.com. If you've enjoyed today's show, subscribe for free to Mr. Media via email, RSS, or iTunes, and you'll never miss a show. Another good idea? Download our new free Mr. Media mobile app in the Android market. You can also listen with a piece of string and a tin can in many parts of the internet. Show your support of Mr. Media by supporting our sponsors, including Audible. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/radio. Again, that's audibletrial.com/radio for your free audiobook. We're also supported by thepartyauthority.us. Call DJ Ira for all your party entertainment needs nationwide at 1-800-DIAL-DJs, or visit their website, thepartyauthority.us. If you've got an idea for a guest, a comment on today's show, or would like to advertise on Mr. Media Radio, email me directly at bob@mrmedia.com, mrmedia.com. You can also call our 24-hour listener line at 1-727-498-4711. Some messages may be used in an upcoming show, and unless you live next door to Mr. Media, there may be a toll charge. You can also follow Mr. Media on Facebook, Twitter, or our new YouTube and Vimeo video channels. Thanks so much for joining us today. I always appreciate you sharing a piece of your day with Mr. Media. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
Hey guys, this is Emmy, and you are listening to Mr. Media.
Hey everybody, this is Bob Andelman from Mr. Media. First of all, I want to thank you for years of support listening to this show. We're starting our 6th year, it's hard to believe, our 6th year as 2012 starts, and heading towards our 1,000th online podcast, audio and video. It's pretty amazing, frankly. I remember starting it several years ago thinking this will never last. And podcasts, that's as stupid a word as blogging. But here we are, starting our 6th year and heading up to 1,000 interviews. And I want to thank everybody for listening and supporting the show. I also want to tell you that one of the things that's been very helpful for this show is Stitcher Radio. Yes, this is sort of a commercial. Now, there are millions of smartphone apps in the world, but I only use one several times a day, Stitcher Radio. I build my own radio station to listen to broadcast and online shows when I want and in the order I want. CNN News Update, Onion Radio News, WTF with Mark Maron, MSNBC's Morning Joe, Studio 60, the TechCrunch headlines, and of course, Mr. Media. It's free. It works on iPhone, Android, BlackBerry, Palm Pre, and much more. And you can get it for free for yourself. Try it out. I guarantee you're going to love it. Stitcher.com/MRmedia. That's Stitcher.com/Mr. Media. You're going to love it. And thanks again for supporting the show.